Okay, sweet. All right. Welcome to Enya's Relatable Randomness. I am your host, Enya Graham-Shuish, and this is my guest, Romus.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. I just wanted to start off with saying how excited I am to be back in the studio and doing podcasts. It's kind of been a minute with school and with COVID and stuff, but I'm super happy to be back. And you guys can be expecting a podcast around the first week of every month. I will let you know the exact date when that day comes. But now on to you, my friends. So tell me a little bit about yourself. So we've met a few times, and you told me that you own a gym and that you do bodybuilding. Tell me more.
Let's see. Hey, my name is Romus.
Hey.
Yeah. You and I met when I was bouncing at the Fox back in the day.
That's right.
That's dope. I own a gym. It's called the Jungle Gym Lift House. It's in Richmond. I have competed in bodybuilding. I do powerlifting as well. And I do some acting on the side.
Ooh.
Those are my main things. And right now I'm studying to be a pilot.
Damn.
That's where my life's at right now. Hopefully it all works out, but then we'll see.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to be here.
So yeah, I'm happy that you're here as well. So you want to, what's your goals with this pilot stuff?
I hope for that to be my main source of income later on. That's like later, right? And hope to have the gym like kind of run its own thing, which it sort of is now, which I'm happy for, especially during times of COVID. It was pretty tough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's where that's at for now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So like how often are you spending in the gym then if you own a gym?
I'm there about 6 days a week with my business partner. They're also there 6 days a week. We take turns cleaning. We don't really have staff. How it works is that it's a 24-hour gym. Our members just get a pass or a key to get in, and it's mostly an honor system because we're not a huge gym by any means. It's a powerlifting, strongman, bodybuilding gym. It's pretty small, and all our equipment's pretty like 80s style.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a fancy gym by any means, but it's a great community. That's
Yeah.
what I like about it. It's a great community, great set of people. They all lift each other up, which I think is lacking now in a lot of the fitness industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How so?
Because let's put it this way. When I first started in the fitness industry, I started as a personal trainer at a commercial gym. And at this commercial gym, I came in. I thought that our main goal was to, help people, get clients, get them better. But instead, what I found out was our main goal was to sell. So I wasn't there as a personal trainer. I went through all that school. I wasn't there for a personal trainer, but I was there as a salesman. So that kind of turned me off at the beginning. And I almost stopped completely from there. I wasn't there very long. So after that, I was like, hey, I need a place where I can train myself the way I like to, and for like-minded people to do that, which was lacking in the Lower Mainland.
Yeah.
Besides my gym, there's like 3 other gyms in Lower Mainland like that, which is, we're all great, we're all friends. We're sure competitors, but at the end of the day, we just talk shit to each other and it's fun. You good?
Oh, excuse me.
You know what I mean?
Bless me. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's a very niche market that we got.
Yeah.
Very niche, very niche.
So all of you guys are like all close buddies who all come to this gym?
We
or-
end up being close buddies.
Yeah.
There's a solid group of people there.
And so are you all in competitions?
Most of us compete in powerlifting, actually.
Okay.
Right? Like I have a few bodybuilders and a couple of strongmen.
What are strongmen?
Strongman is, it's a fun sport, actually. It's where you lift the stones. The kegs.
Oh, I've
Yeah,
spent a
the
long
log press.
time watching those videos.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about them, but I'm just so like consistently amazed. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
these guys are crazy. And their weights too is also
Yeah.
what amazes me, how
Yeah.
heavy these guys are.
And it's always at like an awkward position. It's very functional. You want someone to move, get a strongman. If you get a powerlifter, we're good at moving things in barbell form, up and down. That's it for one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then if you get a bodybuilder, who are also very strong people, but their focus is on how aesthetic they look, which is in itself its own little bubble, which is great.
And so do you find, like, with the aesthetics and stuff, you know, I don't know much about, like, all that world, so I'm gonna ask. With the aesthetics, like, let's say someone is, like, using steroids. Are their muscles as, like, useful as it would be if they were natural?
I would think so. I think it would function even better if you were on some gear. I'm not gonna lie. Like, because when you're on gear, it pretty much, from what I've been told, heightens whatever you have going on, your genetics, etc. It accentuates whatever genetic potential you have, be it for strength, for looks, or in any of those strength sports.
Except for the size of your balls.
No, yeah.
Except for that one thing.
It's one of those things you ask different people, they give you different answers. Some people
Interesting.
respond very differently, apparently,
Yeah.
to that, but some people blow up on juice. Some
Yeah.
people don't.
Yeah.
I've seen some people.
I've heard
that person.
both as well.
Yeah.
But more so shrinking.
Fair.
Yeah. Have you ever used steroids yourself, if you're comfortable answering that?
I'm very comfortable with that, and I have not. No.
Awesome. Good
but
for you.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been something that's on my mind.
Yeah.
And maybe later on, when I'm like in my 40s or 50s or something, I would consider taking something like TRT, testosterone replacement therapy.
Testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah, it's something. It's what, say, the older you get, your natural testosterone drops. Right. So, if many people do that, if I were to take that, it'll take me back up to the testosterone levels I have now. Right? So it just keeps me. You know what I mean?
I see.
So that's what
Okay.
it is.
So you're saying, like, if you were to, you would just like.
Just keep me at the current
You would
how
stay.
I feel now.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
what I mean?
Yeah, maybe that's a part that because I've got some friends from back in the day, and I think that they skipped that part.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I think they maybe. I'm not sure, but just hearing some of their stories and stuff. But yeah, I used to date a guy that took steroids, and it was very, very scary at times. Honestly, it got to a point where I actually was like putting it in his like butt form because he was too afraid to do it in his leg. One time he put it into his leg, and he hit a nerve, and it just shook his leg, and it just
Did, like,
spooked
spray
him.
blood everywhere?
It scared. No, but like his leg kind of like shook a little bit. I guess it was just uncomfortable, whatever. But yeah, it was super terrifying to watch. And then like someone's like your partner's on steroids and they're too scared to do it themselves. Like, what are you really gonna do, right? Like, I like this. It's not very safe to just like all of a sudden stop like that, right? So like he'd ask me, do you mind doing this? And apparently I was doing it the wrong way. As I ended up finding out, you're supposed to go really quick into the butt, but I didn't. It was like very slow, and you'd just be sitting there in agonizing pain. But yeah.
That being said, I'm no expert in steroids in general because I don't take it, but I do have friends, really good friends that do take them. And what I find is that it does get a bad rap for what it is because like we put a bunch of shit in our bodies anyway that are legal.
Yeah.
Right, we got
McDonald's.
McDonald's,
cigarettes.
all that cigarettes, all that shit, alcohol. That fucks you up hard, right? In certain doses.
Yep.
Right, and what steroids, well, a lot of steroids do is it just to some people it really helps them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, there's a difference between use and abuse.
Yep.
And I think that's where the line is crossed. And people think steroids, they think, oh, this big, like 380-pound guy who can't even touch his toes, right? Which is not always the case. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Sometimes it is just for hormonal therapy, which is pretty useful, especially when you get to a certain age for guys. I can't really speak for women, unless you know anyone.
I don't. I don't think I know any females who have. There are a couple people who I know who are in the fitness world who like I would question it because actually I was going to ask you this question. Is there a point that your body like gets to when it's like, okay, like let's say for me, like I'm 135 pounds, like I'm 5'4". Is there a point that like my muscle growth is kind of like at its peak for like what my body's meant to have and meant to handle?
Oh, your genetic potential, you mean?
Oh, that's that. Okay, so yeah,
there
that's
is
the word.
that point.
Genetic potential.
There is that point, but majority of people who hit the gym or fitness people don't ever get to hit that because their diet is not on check, because their training is not on check, right? It takes a very, very strict regimen, a long time actually, to get to that point. Because after your first or second year of lifting, you actually put on muscle very slowly, right? And you actually lose fat very slowly. If like Joe Blow comes off the street, starts lifting for a year, he's gonna blow up. Right? But after a certain point, it's going to get harder. It's not necessarily a linear progression for like in 5 years, I'm going to put 50 pounds of muscle or anything, right? Your first year, you might put on like, I don't know, off the top of my head, 8 to 12 pounds of muscle, or if some people 20 pounds. Second year is going to drop to 8, then third year is going to like maybe 3. It's not a linear progression. It all depends on your training style and your genetics as well. Genetics plays a huge role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, currently, honestly, I've been hitting the gym hard. I've
And you look like you're in dope shape.
Thank you. We're working on it. And I was working with my trainer. I was actually working on glutes because I found for myself one thing that, like, you know, I was a gymnast for 13 years. So like back when you're a little small gymnast, like you got this big popping booty, right?
Yeah.
But you also don't have like your side butt. You don't have any of that because there's no moves that you have to do where you're like really pushing out, because we're so flexible, we jump and our legs are by our ears anyway. It doesn't really take much muscle for us to get there. So yeah, just kind of like learning about the different ways, not the different ways, but like the proper way to be building your muscle. And she was kind of telling me like, you need to be doing like this amount of weight for yourself and these many sets to be growing that. And for myself, like I've always had more of like a muscular body. I've never really watched my body grow because I was always a gymnast, and then all of a sudden I had muscles when I stopped being a gymnast. So I've never watched it grow. So I'm just putting this like into the perspective of myself. Like, is there a point when things like tell, like my body's like, okay, like that's it. Not like I want to get to my biggest extent that I can. I'm not really looking
see
for that.
you tomorrow and like you're like 300 pounds.
Yeah,
What's
right?
up? What do you want?
yeah, pretty much. But more so, I'm kind of just like, I'm trying to get the booty, right? I'm really out there trying to get the booty. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how long does that take? Like if I'm training at my best, like with a trainer, how long does it take to build that muscle?
How long does it take to build that muscle with a trainer?
Or even on your own. Let's say your trainer gave you some things to do and you actually keep to it.
That would depend on what your trainer does, on what your trainer makes you do and what you eat. Right? If your trainer makes you do donkey kicks for 200 reps, that's going to be really tough for you to grow that booty. But if your trainer tells you to do compound movements like their squats, your deadlifts, your what's that called?
Which?
Hip thrusts. You know,
hip thrusts,
the compound movements really recruit the most amount of muscle. And the more muscle you use, the more you're going to develop that. The more you're going to break it down, right? So it's really tough to put a number on it because some people blow up in 6 months. Some people take 6 years.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
So it's just kind of about your body.
The amount of variables attached to that, like your nutrition, the type of training, your sleep. Sleep's huge. People don't take that into account because you grow when you're resting. When you're in the gym, you're breaking shit down. Right?
I just learned this yesterday from my trainer that you actually do all your muscle growing during your sleep, not when you're like at the gym.
When you're recovering, that's true. It took me a while to realize that too.
Yeah.
I've been working out for about like 10, 11 years now. Started out as that gym bro who didn't really do anything, just kind of watched YouTube videos, looked at magazines. And then you get that slap in the face at some point and just be like, okay, I got to do it slow. I got to do it this way, do it that way, right?
Yeah.
So for you, if you want to grow, ask your trainer what kind of training he does for you. Stick to that compound movements. I would say if you just want to grow, start with that and then add a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's what I would suggest. But
for sure.
Different people could say other things too. Right?
Yeah, fair enough. I'll get back to you in 6 months, let you know how it's going.
And you have a whole new wardrobe. What's going on?
Whole new everything. Everything.
Yeah.
No, my trainer is actually, she's a female, and she has got an incredible body. And you know, one thing, I said that to my boyfriend yesterday, and he was like, people go out and the way that they look for their trainers is they look for the body that they want is usually how they pick out a trainer. It's not, like, and I didn't realize that because I've never had to go out and pick a trainer before. I've had one before who is a male, so no, I'm not trying to get his body.
True.
But no, that really makes sense, and it's very encouraging to working with somebody who you're like, hey, like,
I want to look like you, you know?
Exactly, you're showing me the things to help me get there.
So that's where a bit of a tough topic is for a lot of people looking for trainers, because a lot of trainers are dope. They'll tell you what you need to do. They'll show you what you need to be doing, and tell you what you need to be eating, etc. A lot of them are really honest about that way, but there is like a darker side to it in which some trainers they would push a product that they're not using because that's what they're paid to do sometimes. You know what I mean? A lot of trainers are on juice and they're telling people, oh, I'm not. You know, it's just that they get that clout, they get that following, right? I have nothing against steroids at all. I think that if you're competing in a field that everyone uses it, it's fair game. But if you're competing in a natural field or a natural organization and tell people you are natural when you're not, that's cheating to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And do you see that a lot?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like
definitely.
even like, have you ever caught someone like kind of like in the lie where maybe they've told you that they're natural, but then you found out that they weren't?
I've a couple instances the stories won't match up, but I won't like.
You won't call them out on that.
It's tough for me because like I have no say in what they do. Like they do whatever they want in their life. You know what I mean? But there are times I've had with friends, or not even friends, like just people in the industry, people competing in either powerlifting, bodybuilding, whatever. They would claim a certain way, but they're not, right? And that's tough because it makes it tough for the natural people who are competing in the natural federation to compete with someone who's not natural, claiming to be natty, right? That's the problem I'll have, right? That's the only problem I'll have. But if they're not natural, they compete in a non-natural federation, by all means, go for it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Shoot your shit. You know what I mean? Shoot your shit.
Yeah.
Shoot your shit.
What would you say is one of the most like difficult things you've had to either overcome or that you've faced being in the fitness industry?
Starting the gym.
Starting the gym?
Starting the gym, because when I did start the gym, I was nobody really in the fitness industry. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't the strongest guy. I wasn't the biggest guy. I was just trying to get my feet wet. I just wanted a place to train. Not gonna lie, right? But the strength community is really good. They really support you and they really back you up. I mean,
There you go.
that's it. The strength community, yeah, nice.
Yeah, no worries.
They really support you. But
Yeah.
at the same time, with the same amount of support I had from the strength community, I've also had an equal amount of, what's the opposite of support? The word escapes me.
Oh, the opposite of support.
What is opposite of support?
Mark? Opposite of support? Why are we like blanking
Unsupport?
this word? Unsupportive. Unsupportive.
Yeah.
Unsupportive. Yeah. They're
Yeah.
unsupportive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here I am, some random dude with long hair. They're like, some people are telling me like, how strong are you? Would people even come to your gym?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would people come to your gym? You've never been to Worlds. You've never been to Nationals. At that time, I was very green in the industry. Right? You know what I mean? People like trying to put you down, which honestly, it did get to me.
Yeah.
It did. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to fucking overcome that shit. No, it got to me, man. I was sitting there like,
Yeah.
there was a long time I was just sitting there like, what the fuck am I doing? Even when I did open the gym, I was just kind of playing shit by ear, trying to fumble this and that. So the first year was pretty tough for me. First year was pretty tough, just trying to get this and that. But fuck, because of my members. Because of my members, I was able to pull through that. And then second year came along, I got a new business partner. Name's Scott, he's dope. He really helped us grow too. And now here we are approaching our third year almost.
Congratulations.
And hopefully it'll keep growing.
Yeah.
It'll keep growing, man.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I will definitely have to come check out this gym.
Yeah, man.
Eventually.
Gym.
Yeah. Awesome.
If you want to make the trek out to Richmond, yeah, it's dope.
I mean, like I said,
Okay.
I'm there like here and there.
Yeah. How about you? Like, you faced a lot of adversity too in the fitness industry, or what? Because for the most part, most of my experiences were positive. It's a great community overall. But
Yeah.
you do have those little things where like, oh, what the fuck's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
totally.
Yeah.
So I would say like more so like in the fitness industry, I'd say the only part about being in the industry where as much as I am at the moment is going to the gym. But you know, like in sports and stuff, or even at the gym, sometimes like, so I'll just bring this up. So, you know, when you're just sitting there and you're surfing through Instagram, I have had to learn that your body type is not their body type. Your body is not going to look like their body no matter what. So I've learned just to completely have to forget about that idea all in all. And of course, like, you know, I've got lots of saved photos of like these different bodies that like I kind of going for or whatever, but truly at the end of the day, it should just be motivation. I feel like the struggle is kind of like, especially during COVID, because before COVID, so like before I had went sober, I was 30 pounds heavier. Then I lost 30 pounds. I was hitting the gym like twice a day, doing 5K, 10K runs all the time. Lost all that weight. COVID, boom, 30 pounds back. No joke. No joke.
Yeah.
And so now, obviously, I'm like 15 pounds back down again. And just going online and constantly seeing like these girls or just these fitness couples and all these things, it's very discouraging because it's something that you want so bad.
Sure.
And even if you are working on it, it's just like, it can kind of feel a little bit like, not so much disheartening, but it's just like,
Yeah.
you beat yourself up inside because you're like,
why can't
first
I
of
have
all,
that? You know what I mean?
why the hell am I sitting on Instagram looking at videos instead of going out there and gaining a booty?
Yeah.
Is the first thing, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing is like, okay, great. Like you kind of create this little profile of like the body that you want, that you like. Okay, now go and work on it. So that's where I'm at with it now. So I kind of came out of this place where I was feeling really crappy about myself, but I was also in a really crappy lifestyle. You know, so like I didn't have much to look forward to, but I would say that that's my number one. And the other thing, sometimes like, the one thing I don't like about like in gyms so much is kind of just like the awkward looks that you get. I understand that people go to the gym to go rejuvenate themselves, that people are there because that's the time that they fill up their love tank with themselves, they're working on their own body, they don't need to come there and make friends.
Time, you know? Yeah.
And if anybody's actually listened to my podcast for Being Lost in Your 20-something, so sorry, The Power of Smiling, I ended up talking about in that podcast that I had said, you know, it's really weird. I don't like it that when I'm in the change room, in the Plus membership at YMCA, all the girls walk around naked. Well, most do anyway. That when a girl would look at me, she'd look me up like head to toe. And when she got to my face, she wouldn't have anything. She'd just straight face. And I'm like, okay, well, like this is kind of uncomfortable, right?
They're like sizing you up. Is that what you?
Kind of, yeah. But so my mom had listened to that podcast, and the feedback that she gave me was, you know, people go there to rejuvenate. You're not there to make friends, you know? Like, if girls aren't looking at you, smiling at you, it doesn't matter. You should be in your own zone. Now, I get that, and I understand that, but there are just a lot of, it's just, I'm sure everybody who's listening and yourself will be able to relate on the type of look that I'm giving, but there's just a look that they give you, and it's almost kind of like,
It's
almost in disgust.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just busting my ass. But and it's also in times when they're not like squatting 500 pounds, so there's no reason for their face to look like that. Sometimes that kind of puts me off and makes me look a little bit uncomfortable. But how I've been overcoming that as well is by not looking at anybody. I put my headphones on and I actually don't look at anybody anymore because obviously when people are passing you, like it makes sense just to like keep looking, but I have a hard time in public places keeping my eyes where they're supposed to be. Distractions are just way too big for me.
Me too. I zone out like crazy. Like,
Yeah, like I've been zoned out half this podcast. I'm totally kidding.
But I get what you mean, though. It's almost like a competition when you're there.
It almost
You know what I mean?
is.
A
It
competition,
almost
like
is.
I'm a firm believer that your only competition should be yourself.
Absolutely.
And the version you were in the past versus the version you want to be and gonna be. Right? But a lot of people, especially in commercial gyms, view it as like a competition between each other. And for what though?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I think. It's almost like it's a jungle.
Yeah, literally,
There you go,
it's a jungle. Everyone just like, I
I
can
mean,
let go those waves.
mine's bigger than yours. Is it?
Oh man. But yeah. But like, you know, those are all kind of just like minor things. I think a lot of where the biggest issues with like, you know, working out and self-image gets really rocky is social media.
Oh fuck! You hit that right on the head, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Social media, on the surface, it's supposed to be something that brings people together, makes you know, gives you something to look at when in your spare time, etc. Make you all motivated and shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's a lot of 9 times out of not, I feel like down after I look at social media for too long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's tough for me because of the industry I'm in. We not almost have to be, but it really would help to be on social media a lot, right? That's how you get the clout. That's how you get the followers.
Yep.
That's how you get your name out there. You know what I mean? So for someone with me, before I had the gym, before I was more or less more involved in the industry, I wasn't on social media at all. Right? I had a MySpace for like a year. Remember that? Remember MySpace?
You know what?
Yeah.
I am 23, almost 24 years old. I was at the I was at the beginning of Facebook. When MySpace and Facebook were kind of doing this, I was when I started Facebook, when Facebook started becoming more popular over MySpace, maybe like 2009. But I made a MySpace because I was like, I want all the platforms.
Yeah.
Everywhere. I made like
yeah,
Nexopia, didn't even know what it was. I had Club Penguin, obviously I had MSN, which I used all the time.
MSN was dope. I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
totally.
remember coming home from school, just be on MSN, see who's online.
Right.
Hey, I just talked to you like 6 minutes ago, but we're gonna talk again this
I
time
know,
online.
right?
Yeah,
Or my friends and I, we, because I lived in such a small town, would all meet on MSN in our group chats and would have the time and the place and would all log out, sneak out of our houses and go just run through the town all night and just fuck shit up. Like, I don't know if you know what it's called, garden gnomes. It's the opposite of Nicky Nicky Nine Door.
No, I grew up in a place where none of that I don't think was allowed, man. But
yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not very like the nicest thing to do, playing Nicky Nicky Nine Door.
What's
now that I look back.
You just like ring the bell and then go? Or
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
But the opposite is garden gnomes.
Okay.
So you and your whole crew, usually there was about like 8 to like 30 of us, like no exaggeration there, for real. Someone would knock on the door and then everybody stands in the lawn and stares at the front door, and so the person opens the door and they see like 20 kids in their lawn staring at them. First person to move loses.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But now I'm trying to remember why I just brought that up.
That's funny, because when I was a kid, we did something similar,
Yeah.
but because in my community it was pretty closed.
Yeah.
So what we would do is we would drive around. Well, we're like 13. Back where I grew up, we didn't really have licenses properly anyway. We'd drive around at red lights. We'd stare at the car next to us, like stare at the driver. They're like, they're like, there's like 12-year-olds in the car just looking.
Yeah.
So I guess that's sort of
hilarious.
like the garden gnome thing. Yeah,
Very
and then
similar.
Just stare, and
except they're in their car and they can get away from you. It's kind of different
and
when
then
you're
we
in their
tailgate
lawn.
them. You know, like looking at them. First person to laugh
yeah.
loses.
That'll
First
do it.
person to laugh has to get you like a Beyblade or something.
Yeah.
That was back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Oh, right. Yep. You were talking about MySpace.
Yes. Social media.
You weren't on social media. Only MySpace you had.
Yeah, well, even on MySpace, like, in the country I grew up in, everything was very censored. Even MSN was censored, right? You can't really type certain things, and sometimes it would go on and off. And we had dial-up too.
I don't think I was that bad trying to type in bad things on
Really?
MSN that wouldn't allow me.
We also had dial-up internet.
Yeah, so did we.
Yeah, so you pick up the phone, everything gets fucked up. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. And then I guess you and I, we're in a generation where we bypassed all of that. We got the cassettes, we got the CD players, and then we moved on to the first iPod, and then all this. And I like that because we saw that transition to now.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine for our parents though, because I was thinking about this the other day too. I was like, I remember holding a Walkman. And then I remember holding, I remember because my mom still had one though. They weren't bumping in 97. No, they weren't. It was Discmans then, I think. But I remember holding a Walkman, and I remember having a Discman, and I remember having this new Zen iPod. Zen MP3 player.
Okay, yeah.
And then I had that silver MP3 player with the flat top, but then the rest is kind of like this.
I think I know which one you're
It's
talking
like
about.
everyone had it.
I know which one you're
And then the
talking
iPod, of course.
Did you ever have that Motorola Razr?
Yeah.
That little, yeah.
Of course. I mean, my dad did, but same. I had just this really cheap, crappy flip one, and then my mom's like, if you want a phone, go buy your own. So I had a crappy BlackBerry. So this stuff, how you feel about yourself, your self-image, and also what you perceive yourself to be. And when you're on social media, it's just like, you know, I remember when I first got Instagram back in 2012, and how defeated I felt when my picture of me doing this crazy jump over this hurdle. It was not a hurdle jump because I was a gymnast. Gymnasts don't bend their legs when they jump, so it was like this beautiful split over. It's like one of the first pictures on my Instagram if you want to go that far down and creep it. But I remember only getting a few. Sorry?
I'll do that after this.
Yeah, right? Actually, but that was, I think I had gotten like 5 likes on it, and I remember crying.
Yeah.
I remember crying because I had some friends who, you know, like there was some difference between me and some people. I didn't really take many selfies,
True.
never show cleavage, nothing like that. So like for me, when I posted really cool pictures, like these awesome track pictures and stuff, and they didn't get likes, oh my God, literally, I would cry because it was just like, I felt so like low about myself. But that was also like when you're young and all those things can affect you.
That's true.
But
it carries over into now. Like
exactly,
crazy, right?
exactly.
For me, it was like posting a photo. I think it was on early Facebook. And then I'm sitting there refreshing the page, waiting for that one person I liked in school to see it or like it, you know what I mean? And then when they don't, you feel like the world's gonna end.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up because that's not, I don't think that's what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean?
It's not what it's supposed to be.
It's not what it's supposed to
at
be
all.
at all, right?
And
more people live on social media more than they do live in real life now.
Absolutely.
And that's fucked up.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and also like the issue is like, you know, when we were young and having those upset feelings about it and stuff, that's the thing, is all these people are getting social media when they're young, and just all of your self-image goes out the window, you know, not until probably like just a year and a half ago is when I really started to work on like self-love and being able to look in the mirror and like, it took me a while. I had to do all these different things. So one thing that I did about my voice is I meditated and I cleared my head completely, and then I quickly pressed play on one of my recordings. And that was the way that I could hear my voice outside of what I think my voice sounds like in my head, because most people don't like hearing themselves. So
I hate myself on the phone. Like,
everybody does. Almost everyone does.
And my
But
voice,
what got me out of that was doing that little meditation and then going and clicking it. And I was like, whoa, because I heard me not as me. Because when you're going and knowing you're about to listen to yourself, you're already judging yourself because you already don't like your voice, although you actually have never given your voice a chance to be heard. So I did that and I was like, damn, I'm like, I actually do have a good radio voice, because everyone kept telling me, and I'm like, okay, thank you. I know that now.
Yeah.
And also with beauty too, right? Like I really had to look in the mirror and think to myself that I'm like, you know, I do feel beautiful. I am beautiful. I do hear it when people call me beautiful. But it really took a lot of like personal strength and work to truly believe those things, because people could tell you it as much as they want, but you can tell the prettiest girl how gorgeous she is, but she still might be insecure. All those things have to be fixed within in yourself on your own time. When you go look at the mirror, you go tell yourself you're beautiful. You get to that point until you believe that. The thing that is not going to help you is posing in front of all these pictures, in front of these cameras, and thinking that your beauty comes within these likes, because it is not. A lot of the time, like for my Instagram personally, my pictures that get the most likes, the pictures that I'm more naked. The pictures that I'm more naked, the pictures where I've got the like just more like sexy vibe on, those always get the most likes. And so sometimes, you know, if you just got like a regular, cool, chill pic and you don't get so many likes, you're like, oh, well, I thought that everyone thought I was looking good.
Yeah, and that's messed up too, because a lot of people get on social media and they're like, oh, whatever gets the most likes, that's how I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right? That's a lot of people end up thinking that way, and a lot of people sell themselves out to that, and they don't become the most authentic selves. And that's where people, I think, in my experience, get that void in themselves. And in order to fill that void, the only way they know how is to get more likes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they think that's the only thing that's going to get them going, going to keep them going. I don't have a huge social media following on my personal page. I just shoot the shit.
No, you definitely
right?
do not. I'm just kidding. I'm just screwing with you.
No, I know. That's fucking true. But what I found myself is that I can't, similar turning point to you is that for me anyway, was that I got to a point where I figured out that I can't make everyone happy.
Yeah.
And the only person I really should make happy, it sounds selfish to start off, is myself.
But it's so
right?
true.
But if I'm happy, I can make other people happy too.
Exactly.
Right? Like a lot of people look at me or whatever, my page or whatever, and some people don't like it. Some people do. Right? Some people don't like my look. Some people do. But do I like my look?
Yeah.
Right? I went through a bunch of different like styles and how I presented myself and all that. But I found that a lot of them were because of how I wanted others to see me. I wasn't my most authentic self in a huge amount of my life, right? Up until that point where I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I want to grow my hair.
Yeah.
Let me grow my hair up. And then fuck it, I'll get this tattoo, even though it's not like as aesthetic as most people's tattoos are, you know. Right? I want to look this way. I'm going to go to the gym because I want to look this way. I want to be this strong, you know what I mean? And once I figured that out, and I'm still working on it. I'm in no way at the point where I'm like, oh, I've reached it. I'm there, right? And I think that's a process for everyone. But once I got over that hump, I'm like, you know what, fuck everyone. That's where I really found being my most authentic self, and I attracted more people similar to me. And I'm happy that way. It's a smaller amount of people.
Yep.
Smaller circle, but good circle.
It's a very good circle.
Yeah, it
It is. It is.
Vibes attract vibes, I think. I believe that.
100%.
Similar vibes.
I truly believe, I think it's honestly just like facts anyway, but your energy, you emit these little waves, right? And the universe, like what you put out always comes back, right? So these little waves go out and then they just get received, the same ones. So whatever energy you're putting out there, expect it back.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Now going back to the fitness industry on that note, I feel bad for a lot of these kids I see in the gym. They'll juice up, they'll do whatever they need to do before they get to a point where they're able to. Like I'm a personal believer, if you're gonna use juice, do it. I'm not against that. I'm not against juice or roids in any way, right? But
are juice and roids not the same thing?
They are. Yeah.
Okay.
Different words for different things. Yeah. Like fuck, do it, but know what you're getting into first. You know
Do some research.
Yeah, do some research.
Talk to someone who's done it before.
Yeah, a lot of people fuck their bodies up like early on, and it's really hard to go back from that. I've seen that a lot. Yeah. And I feel bad when that does happen, because fuck, they're in their early 20s. Yeah. They're fucked. You know what I mean? Yep. It's gonna be, they're on X amount all day, all the time. Yeah. They have to be on, you know, it's
totally.
It's sad, not because of what's happening, it's because the reason they do it. They want to look a certain way. They want those likes. They want that clout. They want to be somebody on social media or in the industry. Yep. And they're willing to put their bodies on the line for that. But there's a healthy way to do it.
There is, yeah.
There is. I think that I'm a firm believer that you should train properly first, diet properly first, get to a certain point in your life, and then consider these things. Yep. Right?
I agree with you. I agree with you. I remember when I was in middle school. Yeah. Thigh gaps. Remember that?
Thigh gaps. Oh yeah. That was like the wave. Like, look, that was the shit back then, right?
It was like everybody. I remember, you know, even how girls pose in pictures. Yeah. You know, like you stand up and you just like. Yeah.
Just to get the
a little bit of a thigh gap.
It's funny now. It's the complete opposite, eh?
Yeah.
It just goes in waves.
It does. And like, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna even be honest about this. So today, I had a friend who he's a good friend, but he, for the third time, has made a comment about my weight, and he had sent me a photo of myself a year ago when I had a nice chilled six-pack, and he was like, "What happened to you?" And I got super, super upset and emotional and frustrated, because I think it's because it was the third time that he had mentioned something, and you as my friend, it is not your place to ever speak on my weight, and it wasn't quite friendly, you know, and I just think like, and then I talked to my boyfriend about it after, and he was kind of like, he looked at me like, "Baby girl, like what's the matter here? Like, you are confident, you were strong. How come you're letting this get to you?" And honestly, like, I can't really explain to you why I let it get to me, but I gotta tell you, like, before I came here, I was honestly crying about this, and it was something that was really upsetting me. And I think that one thing that people don't realize is like your effects that you have on people when it comes to these things, because you don't know what someone is internally going through. And so like, even let's say you see a girl on Instagram who's super like fit, skinny. She could be anorexic and you don't know that. True. You know, let's say for me in this example, he hasn't seen me in a while, so he doesn't know what I look like. What he remembers is my plus 30 pounds last time he saw me. But he's trying to like go out and say something to help a friend, but you don't know what that actually has effect on the person behind that, because I am on my grind. I am at the gym every day. I am pushing so hard. And it's interesting because it came from this post, this social media post of myself. Of myself. It was me like in a bikini, like my abs were out, and I looked at it and I got really, really upset from him making these comments because I was like, yeah, I know, that is where I want to be. Thanks, tell me I'm not there. And then me and my boyfriend kind of like were talking. He walked out of the room and I went to go like sit down, and I guess I kind of like sat down like a whatever way. My freaking fly popped, my pants popped open, and I just started like tearing up again. And I was like,
that happens to me every weekend, man.
I know, and truly, like I don't have issues around that. I am not. It was just an in the moment frustration. Then all of a sudden, your frustration turns into a lot of emotion. It was one of those things. But the whole premise of why I'm saying that is like, you know, people, when it comes to their bodies, people have their own individual journeys. And no matter what you see on the outside, you do not know what their journey is on the inside.
A lot of
there
people
could
go
be
through shit.
Exactly.
A lot of people go through some hard shit.
Some hard shit. Some hard shit. And it's just, people need to understand that, you know, if you're somebody who's ever been through something with yourself internally about your body, just go out and know the smarts that other people are too, and to not make comments on stuff.
I'll tell you what though, that tells you something more about him than it does about you.
Absolutely it does.
Yeah. I have a similar situation when I started trying to open the gym, right? People tell me like, hey, you're not strong enough. Who are you? Like, who are you, right? And it really got to me. I was really sad, but I can only speak for myself. I can't speak in your situation. But the reason I felt really sad, the reason I let that get to me is because maybe at that time that they said it, somewhere inside me believed them. Right? I'm trying to grind. I'm trying to get this gym going. I'm trying to get everything going. I'm trying to make sure everything's okay. But there's still that doubt inside of me that person highlighted. And I let that grow. I let that fester. Because in my mind, I'm like, you know what if he's right?
Yeah.
Right? But that's what made me, that's what got to me. That's what kept me up at night.
Yeah.
Right? And it still happens. I mean, fuck, I'm human. Right? There's a lot of things that people say that do get to me. I don't show it all the time. I'm trying to learn how to just not give a fuck, which is easier said than done, actually, right? It's easier said, fuck off. You know what I mean? It's easy to say fuck off.
100%.
But I'll say fuck off, but then I'll walk home or like drive home like it's in my mind. That lets it fester. That lets it fester. And especially when you go on social media, you look at it and like, oh, this person's doing this. They're awesome. Their life is great. I mean, then it just even grows even more. It's almost like a toxic atmosphere for people, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, fuck. It happens. Right? Happens.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I mean, like, it's all Gucci at the end of the day. Like, people want to say things, if you're going to feel things, just, I think, like, one of the most important things that I've learned lately is to know yourself.
Yeah.
Is to, like, know yourself, like, your inside, your outside, your brain, what you say, your disposition, the way that you talk, everything. Just like know yourself, because like through learning myself, I've realized that all these outside things don't actually affect me as much. And today just happened to be a one-off. You know, like with the fly and this comment and these things. It just sometimes you also just gotta cry. Sometimes you just gotta cry about you don't know what. You just gotta let it out.
People feel negative emotions and let it sit in their minds more than 100 positive comments would. Yeah. Like I would personally, I would focus on that one comment someone made that made me feel bad versus like a million comments, or not a million, a lot of comments someone said positive about me. And I don't know why. I'm still in that process of finding that out. That's just me though. Yeah. Maybe other people are that way too, but I'm not sure if that's how we're wired. You know what I mean? Like almost as a defense mechanism. I don't know. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I have no idea.
Definitely takes hard work. Takes a lot of like just mental strength to get to these places.
And they don't even teach that shit at school.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. Did I open a can of worms here?
This can of worms keeps getting open a lot. You know what? I think that I need to just get on here with you, somebody, and just talk about the things that need to be taught in school. Because this conversation keeps coming up a lot, and they don't. It makes me mad at this school district, the things that we don't get taught, like, and also how fast social media came up, and that only now are we seeing movies like. like the social dilemma.
Yeah.
You know, things where they're opening up people's eyes on what the actual effects are. Like, they knew what they were doing from the get-go, and people are smart enough to see what it was doing from the get-go, like people who aren't as big as users, maybe like our teachers at school or like our parents. But not once did anybody like tell us, hey, don't trip up, it's the internet and not everything you see is
not
real.
real
And a
life,
lot of those girls that you see got surgery, a lot of those people just, whatever the situation is, you know, no one tells you that. And now it's a time when like, I think the whole universe is like, you're either stuck in it, or you're stuck in the life of that ugliness of social media, or you're in social media, but you're also awake.
Oh man, there's this funny story. Speaking of that social media thing, is one time at a commercial gym. It was like years ago. It was funny. I was still getting started in the industry. I saw this Fitfluencer person, like this Fit influencer. I don't know off the top of my head what her name was, but she'd just have this like resting bitch face on. Hating her workout, et cetera, but then she'd make a short like video post. She's like this, like, fuck my workout and all that shit. And then she'll turn on the recordings like, hey guys, I'm here working out, I'm having so much fun. And then like turn it off and then go back to the resting bitch face. I'm like, whoa. That was like an eye opener for me. I'm like, but that happens quite a bit, I think, guys included.
It does.
Guys included, they'll flex and shit, and then they're like, oh, fuck my life, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you have a lot of people at your gym sitting in front of the mirror just like flexing it up?
We have 2 small mirrors in the gym, actually.
Oh, perfect. Was that on purpose?
Yeah, because a lot of us, well, just never got around to it, not gonna lie. Because a lot of us do powerlifting, which when you squat and all that, you're not looking in front of a mirror, right? You're focusing on strength and how to get strong. We do have people flexing in front of the mirror. That's true, right?
Yeah.
And it is more of a social, more social dynamic. People sit there for 3 hours and shit, you know, which would be frowned upon in other gyms, right? But yeah, no, our gym's pretty chill so far.
That's
You know
good.
what I mean? Even the bodybuilders there, the strongmen there, we're all friends. And that's what I really like. I like that small community. And I think more gyms like that are dying out because of COVID. It's really hard for like those mom and pop gyms to stay alive because of COVID. Meanwhile, big corporate gyms are charging like $10 a month for people to like sardine the can in, and you lose that personality of a gym. You lose that, what do you call it? That connection to the gym, right? Like I know most, maybe not all, but I know most of my gym members by name, and I know their goals.
Yep.
All right.
That's
Because
awesome.
it's not many, but still, like it's a.
All
yeah,
four
yeah,
of
yeah,
them.
yeah. All, yes, all 4. No, 3. One of them's sick. No, I'm joking. Including myself. No.
Yeah, and my business partner.
Yeah, so that leads 2. My mom and my. But no, man, that's the dynamic of small gyms that I really like, and I hope, and that's what I really like to see more in the future, is that more of these mom and pop gyms pop up.
Yeah.
Right, stay alive when these big corporate gyms are trying to like charge much less. Which I understand for the average person, like, hey, this guy's charging less and they have nicer equipment, I'm gonna go there, right? But that just makes it tough for businesses like myself.
Yep.
Right? But I'm thankful that the community we have at the gym currently, and I'm sure in the strength community overall, is pretty positive that way. And more people, I think, are, even in social media, I feel like people are more pushing towards that spectrum. Gone are the, like not gone, but people are drifting away from trying to be at this commercial gym, et cetera, and trying to like support the local ones. Especially like, honestly in Vancouver. I see more fitfluencers or fitness influential people at local gyms, and I'm happy for that. You know what I mean? I'm happy for that. For people like that and that with that reputation to be promoting smaller gyms.
Yep.
Smaller businesses. Because that's, honestly, in the time of COVID, that's what we need right now.
Totally.
You know?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for anybody who is kind of experiencing the things that we had just been talking about when it comes to the social media and like your own self-image and when you go to the gym, the people that you see? Do you have any advice for people who are facing those issues?
Off the top of my head, I would tell them like, hey, it's your phone, you could just turn off like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to look at it, right? It's tough.
And flip it over.
Yeah, flip it over.
That's my trick. You keep it flipped over that way you don't see it brighten up.
Flip it over. That's not real life. You know what I mean, I'm guilty of it. There was a time in my life where like, oh shit, man, I need this cloud, I need this and got to a point almost where you'd almost like be a completely different version of yourself on social media versus in real life, and I don't like that.
Yep.
Right? at this point in time, I'm the same everywhere. Like, fuck, I'll talk to anyone the same way. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to approach a young guy right now at the gym, like, hey, don't give a fuck.
Yep.
Be here because you want to be here for your own self.
Totally.
That's what I would say, right? Like, the likes will come if they want, if that's what we're after. The girls will come, whatever. If you work on yourself, just do whatever makes you happy, and everything will line up. Like you said, vibes attract vibes.
Yep.
Right? Or did I say that?
I think we both kind of agreed on that.
Yeah, we
you
did.
said
We
vibes
did.
attract vibes, and I went on like wavelength,
Yeah,
vibes.
that's true. Yeah, and even now, like back, I remember even back in like maybe 5-6 years ago, like it was still quote unquote frowned upon or even like looked down upon when women lifted weights, right? But what they like now, it's becoming more and more mainstream, which I like. That's the positive things I see on social media when the stigmas from back in the day, the wrong impressions that people got because they were ignorant, now get exploited.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And more people are in the gym. More girls are into lifting, etc. And that's what makes me happy anyway.
Yeah.
That's a positive note there.
I agree.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there, yeah. That's
Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about?
chill,
I guess I'm the
easy.
host. I should be asking myself that. Is there anything else that I'd like to talk about?
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Anya?
Honestly, I think we pretty much like summed it all up. The biggest thing that I wanted to just kind of like get out was just like that whole self-image thing that we had talked about, you know, and like it's kind of, you got to be happy with yourself. You know,
It's just
and
easier said than done.
it is easier said than done.
Much
And
easier said than done.
exactly. And the thing is I know that people preach about this a lot, but there's one thing to preach, but there's one thing to do.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking from someone who has been spending the past year and a half on working on myself, like purely, you know, like a lot of things have come up and gone down and whatever it is, but just love yourself is my biggest message. And the way that you can get there and to do that is by just engulf yourself in all the things that are good for you, whether you like them or not, because you will enjoy them at one point. I have currently been keeping up with my yoga, and I've always wanted to be a yogi, and I'm not yet a yogi. I can't say that, but
I can touch my toes sometimes.
oh, good for you. And probably like after like a big workout and your legs all warmed up.
Not even. Well, like when I'm like, oh fuck, I dropped my chocolate bar. I need to reach it.
Yeah,
there we go.
yeah. You're like, oh, it's worth it.
Yeah, for that thing though, like I think that what people fail to realize too, myself included too, is that there is really no end point to that. Like it's a journey. You're always going to be continually working on yourself. Like a lot of times I thought to myself, and I even talk to people about that, is that they say that, oh, once this happens, or once this happens to me, once I do that, then I'll be happy.
Yep.
That's not the way it works.
No.
You know? It's not the way it works.
That is not the way it works. You will not be happy when you get that one thing, because there will always be another thing which then you will have to be happy about. It's like, okay, I'm gonna be happy once I lose 20 pounds. Okay, you've lost 20 pounds, but you still got like 20 more. No, you're not gonna be happy then. You're not gonna be happy even when you lose all the weight. The happiness is coming within and how you feel about yourself. And the thing is like, the truth is it is social media, and a lot of people on your social media who, like even I look up to, a lot of these girls, their asses ain't even real. Like, you know, like a lot of these girls.
But they preach that it is.
Exactly.
And I don't like that.
Exactly. And a lot of these girls, they have trainers beside them 24/7 who like meal prep for them. A lot of these people, this type of, this life and that fitness, it actually comes a lot easier. And the thing is even all the clout that you see online with all these people who are just so sexy and so hot and so fit with all these followers, they might be the most fucking miserable person that you've ever met in your entire life. And just because they go all over the world, just because they have the hottest body, just because they're smiling in front of the camera, does not mean for a second that they are happy. The happiness comes before all of that bullshit's supposed to come.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's like, if you also think about it, someone's out there at the gym trying to lose weight or get those body gains, whatever it is, if you can love yourself and be happy with yourself at that moment, imagine how freaking phenomenal you will feel about yourself when you achieve those things.
You know something strange? At the gym, we have this board which just says your name, your body weight, and then the total amount you can lift. It's almost like a ranking board, you know?
Oh,
Yeah,
snap!
yeah.
I like that.
Like you'll say have like say Scott like 200 something pounds, and then his lifts X amount of pounds, right? On mine it says yes. Romus, body weight, yes.
Yes, I like that.
Because it fluctuates up and down 30 pounds throughout the year, depending if
Yeah.
I'm going to do a powerlifting meet or try to do bodybuilding meet.
Yeah.
Or show, sorry. I've only dabbled in bodybuilding so far. I've never been super shredded, but hopefully this show I will be.
Yeah. And so,
Right?
yeah, you are currently training for your next
For,
show,
for
correct?
a bodybuilding show in
Awesome.
December. Got a dope team behind me at the Jungle Gym and Wolf Aesthetics, and they're really supportive. And dope, super dope. But yeah, like, I feel the same way 30 pounds heavier and 30 pounds lighter,
Yeah.
right? I don't.
Trust the journey. Trust
Yeah,
the
it's a
process.
journey, right? Like
Yeah.
I've learned to be happy with a gut and without a gut. You know what I
Yep,
mean?
that's good.
Yeah, and part of the reason that is because a lot of my family is in a third world country, right? I got some cousins playing with sticks, but I tell you what, they're playing with sticks, but they're happier than some of the kids I see here on their brand new iPads.
100%.
Mhm.
And that's the craziest part. That is just the craziest part is like truly like none of this stuff I picked up my new iPhone 11
Ah,
except for this one thing makes me I'm just kidding.
that's a dope phone. Not gonna lie.
It is.
That's a
It
fucking
is.
dope
I
phone.
honestly, it was a gift, and I am so blessed to have it. Just my photography is just like, I'm loving it. But I just want to say thank you for coming on to my podcast with me and sharing your stories.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I mean, This is
Absolutely.
a dope spot you got here.
Yep. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. And I'm going to end every episode like I do every single time. Keep smiling.